Okay, I want to give you just a couple quick tips on pacing. Ultimately, when it comes to pacing for easy runs, for speed workouts, for races, it just takes practice. It takes time. It's something that you have to learn how to do, and learning how to do it just takes a lot of time, okay? Um, a couple things with if you have had prior performances, prior races, prior paces that you've ran, and you've had a break from running and you've come back to it or you're getting back into it, please recognize that there is something called muscle memory. So if you are used to running 9-minute miles for your half marathon, or that's like your flow state or cruising pace, or if let's say that's your easy pace, as you get back into running, your body is naturally going to find that pace again, even though it's not going to feel the same. Okay? Your easy pace, your half marathon pace, your 5K pace, it's not going to be the same as it was when you were originally running or when you had those achievements that those goals and those paces that you achieved or that you ran. But your body is going to remember that. It's called muscle memory. So it may feel good to get back into that pace and you're like, oh, this is a flow state. Or running some of your intervals, you may be like, oh, I ran those intervals too fast, but that pace was familiar. My body wanted to run that pace. Like I was trying to run 9 minutes per mile, or I was trying to run 9:15 or 9:30, but my body found a sweet spot at 9. That's that muscle memory, okay? So we just want to go back to what is the purpose of this run, this speed workout, this race? What paces should I be running? And just remind yourself of that. You will get back to those paces that your body knows. That those paces will get easier, and you'll get back to running whatever that pace was for that distance. But just know that when you're starting off again, getting back into the rhythm, your body's going to find that pace from muscle memory. But I don't want you running the pace that you used to run your easy runs at or your half marathons at in a workout that's not the intention. Okay, so again, just go back to the purpose of the run and remind yourself of that. Now, if you have a Garmin, if you have Coros, any running watch, sorry, not Apple, if your workout with all those watches, the workouts that I plan in Training Peaks automatically upload to your watch, and it tells you exactly like, okay, you're doing a 10-minute warm-up, then you're going to go into 4 sets of strides. It tells you exactly like, okay, you need to run this stride for 15 seconds. It buzzes at you when you're doing your 1-minute walking or standing rest interval after those strides. It tells you again, okay, 15-second stride. This is your interval. It tells you all of that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you have a Garmin or a Coros or another running watch, please let me know. But for those of you who have Apple Watches, this is what I'm talking about. It automatically uploads to your watch and tells you exactly what to do, so you don't actually have to keep on manually doing the workout or looking at your watch, okay? However, there are some, as always, flaws to Training Peaks. I can only program a run in Training Peaks based on heart rate or based on pace, okay? So I can't do your warm-up at easy effort heart rates and then your speed workouts at a certain pace. I either have to do the whole thing at pace or the whole thing at heart rate, which is why it gets a little bit tricky, especially when it comes to like strides. When I don't care what the pace is, I just want you focused on running form, recovering in the intervals, and running them well. Now, I give you, if I'm setting it based on heart rate and pace, I'm giving you very large ranges for those because your watch can't keep up with that, okay? And you can also run significantly faster in those strides than I could even predict. Like some of my strides are extremely fast, and sometimes they're maybe more like 5K pace. It just really depends on the day. But it's not something that I can ever predict. So that's why I give you a huge range, and so that you're not constantly having your watch beep at you as you accelerate and decelerate in that 15-second or 20-second stride period. Okay. So hopefully that adds some clarification there. Your watch cannot keep up with you during strides, which is why, again, it's not the reason why, but we are not focused on pace in your strides. We are focused on your running form and your efficiency, and focusing on the push off, the knee drive, your arm swing. Like we're focused on all of that in your strides. Okay. That being said, your watch cannot keep up with your pace in strides or even in a 30-second interval. So it can get frustrating if you're running these 30-second intervals or 200 meters based on pace, and your watch is beeping at you that you're running too slow or too fast, but you think that you're supposed to stop, and it gets to be a mess. So just remember, give yourself some grace. Nothing is perfect. Your watch, again, cannot keep up with that pace. So let's just say you're doing a 30-second interval. You're running it basically based on feel. And then you get to your recovery period. Let's just say it's a minute long. You slow down, and your watch is buzzing at you that you're going too fast. And let's say it's telling you that you're running a 10:30 mile pace right now, but you're actually walking. That's because your watch is still trying to catch up from you running that 30-second interval and then getting into this recovery interval. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. But it can get a little frustrating with the shorter intervals because your watch just can't keep up with it, which is why you really need to go back to feel, but you have to be careful with that muscle memory too. So as you're doing your speed workouts, as you're doing your long runs, your easy runs, every type of run, I want you just to take a few minutes to just be present in the moment, as you should with every run, but focus on, okay, this is the pace that I'm running. This is what it feels like. Look at your watch. Say, okay, I'm running 9:30 right now. This is what it feels like. And just soak up that feeling. If you're doing a speed workout and you're supposed to be running 7:30 pace, like make sure, look at your watch, make sure that you're running 7:30 pace and soak that feeling in. What does it feel like? What does your running form look like? Are you leaning forward more because you're running a faster pace? How hard does it feel? Think about the efforts, rate of perceived exertion on a scale that was 0 to 10. What does this effort level feel like? Okay. I hate scales of 1 to 10 on how good you like something, or do you agree with this statement or whatever. But this is where it's hard to do, but it's also very beneficial because you can be like, okay, this feels a lot harder than it should. Or this feels easier than I expected, or this feels harder than I expected. Okay. I did a long run today. And what I did personally, I needed the first 10 miles to be super easy. I didn't pay attention to my watch. I went based on effort, and my breathing and heart rate and everything and how I felt. But I checked my watch 2 times during those 10 miles just to make sure that I wasn't joking and that I was actually honest with my pace and that I was keeping it easy. And I just checked in and was like, okay, yes, this feels like a 9:30 pace or whatever I was running. And then in the second half, I did a progression. So each mile was faster than the previous. And my last 2 miles of this 11-mile block were at my goal marathon pace. Now, I checked my watch 4 times during those 11 miles. And what I said was, before I looked at my watch, I thought about, what does this feel like right now? What pace does this feel like? What effort level does this feel like? And then I looked at my watch to make sure that what I was feeling matched with my watch. If I was like, okay, this feels like an 8:30 pace, and I looked at my watch and I was running 7:20, like there's a mismatch right there, okay? Or vice versa. If I thought I was running 7:20s at the end and I was really running 8:30s, I got a problem there too. So just ask yourself, what does this feel like? And does what I feel match what I'm actually running? With the caveat that your watch can't fully keep up with you when you're running those short intervals, okay? But if you have any questions about pace, heart rate, if you want your speed workouts to be based on pace or heart rate, either one, please let me know. If you start with one and decide, no, I want to go back to the other, or I want to try the other, please let me know and I can do that. A lot of people are doing speed workouts based on pace right now and really enjoying it. It also just kind of depends on what season of training and life that you're in. As we get closer to race day, we're focusing more on pace and locking in that goal race pace. If you're in the off season, starting back up with running, we're focusing more on effort because that's the most important part, instead of focusing on a number and pace and the numbers that you used to run. Okay, so if any questions about muscle memory, oh, I forgot one more thing and then I'm done. If you are running, I'm just going to give the example of mile repeats. If you're running mile repeats and you're supposed to be running 8 minutes per mile, okay? 8 minutes per mile is your goal pace for each mile, and you look down at your watch and it says 8:20, okay? Don't like take off and say like, oh gosh, I'm running so slow right now, I need to sprint to catch up. That's gonna be too big of an adjustment, okay? Make little adjustments to your pace and they're gonna go a long way. Now, if you're doing a tempo run and you're supposed to be running 8-minute miles for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever I tell you to do, and you look down at your watch and you're running 10-minute miles because you're not paying attention to your pace and really being present in your run, then we got another problem. You need to pay more attention to focusing on the task at hand and focusing on that pacing. And then you're going to have to pick it up a little bit quicker to get to that goal pace and the intention of the workout. But with these shorter intervals and trying to match the pace that you're supposed to be running, don't make drastic adjustments because you're going to be all over the place. If you're supposed to be running 8 minutes per mile and you're running 8:20, and you're like, oh crap, I got to speed up, and you take off too fast, now you're going to be running 7:30s, then you're going to have to slow down, and then you're going to probably slow down too much, and your intervals on your watch or your data is just going to look up and down, and you're going to get frustrated with it. So make small adjustments and just check in with yourself again as you find that right pace. And the more that you run that pace, the more that we work on running your different zone paces, the better that you're going to get at pacing. But again, it just takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't find a pace and learn how to pace yourself in a month or so. It takes work. It's something that I'm still working on, but it's the beauty of experimenting and figuring out what works best for you, okay? So once again, let me know if you have any questions about pacing, heart rate versus based on pace for your workouts, and we can talk about it and we can make adjustments as needed.